Hello and welcome to this week's staff brief. I'm Paul Robinson, I'm the Chief Executive here at Sherwood Forest, and today with me I have Fatima Yusuf, Consultant in Emergency Medicine, Rob Flemming, Specialty Doctor in Critical Care Anaesthesia, Kate Wright, our Associate Chief AHP, and Vicky Malia, our Head of Culture and Engagement. And as you see, we'll be covering topics such as SAS Week, Allied Health Professionals Day and a National Staff Survey. And just before that, I'll just cover off some general updates. So you can't fail to have noticed it was the Excellence Awards last Friday evening. So huge congratulations to all those who were award winners. A huge well done to all those that were nominated and shortlisted. We had over 250 nominations this year, so there was a really difficult judging process that we had to undertake. So I want to take time to thank all colleagues for your consistent hard work and commitment in making the Trust a great place to work, and indeed in nominating individuals that you thought embodied the values of the Trust and were deserving of an Excellence Award. We shared an email yesterday, and in fact there were a few different communication channels used yesterday to distribute and communicate the full list of winners and links for how you can watch the event back, including on the Facebook page. And as I've just sort of mentioned, the event was a virtual one. We hope to be having a face-to-face occasion next year, but this year virtual, and we'll be out and about. Myself and my executive team colleagues will be out and about across the Trust in the next days and weeks to present the trophies in person and to have a chat and have a little talk about learn about the winners. So look out for us there, get landing in your diaries, but well done to everyone who was shortlisted, in fact nominated, shortlisted and indeed won. So moving on, flu and COVID vaccinations. We're now in full flow delivering flu and COVID vaccinations to colleagues. Indeed, I took part in following the board meeting on Thursday. I received, along with my board colleagues, my flu and COVID vaccination last week. I'm encouraging everyone to do the same. Protect yourself by getting both the flu vaccination and the COVID autumn booster. You can receive your flu vaccinations tomorrow here at Kingsmill by visiting the occupational health team in Byron House, and a full list of clinics can be found in last week's bulletin, or from the picture that Jess will be just posting in the chat, and it's also the same thing that's on screensavers this week. You can also book appointments via the intranet page. Peer vaccinators can also be used for flu vaccinations, and for those colleagues at Newark, the peer vaccinators are located on Minster Ward. The vaccination hub here at Kingsmill you can use as a drop-in for both COVID and flu vaccinations. You can also book COVID vaccinations by appointment online. Yeah, so we're in, as you can see on screen there, the clinics that have been held this week. So please protect yourself from both and utilise the flu and COVID vaccinations that are being offered. Moving on to NHIS, and NHIS, our health informatics service, have a new customer portal available. This portal is for logging incidents and requests and is now live. A few benefits over contacting NHIS by telephone and email are that the designs within the portal have been designed to capture the minimum data required in order to progress any incident or issue or question, and therefore that means that it's unlikely that NHIS will have to recontact you for any further information, which is more and often the case if you submit a request by email. Furthermore, any requests that are submitted via the portal can be processed and resolved much faster than email requests, and there's an activity history facility on there that enables you to see real-time updates on progress and the status of the calls that you've made. So access to the new portal is via the current NHIS customer portal homepage when you click IT support and then look for log a new call, and you can log into the portal using your usual PC or laptop login details. Further information can be found on the Sherwood Forest Hospital's intranet page by selecting the tile with the NHIS logo, new customer portal, or contacting the project manager, who is Helen Ben-Fredge, and Jess will post Helen's contact details in the chat. So please use the new customer portal when contacting NHIS. Thank you. Lastly, a couple of 2 or 3 things just that we're marking this week. So the first is it's Baby Loss Awareness Week, and we're supporting families and colleagues who may have experienced these most difficult of circumstances. The midwife and spiritual and pastoral care team are holding a session on Friday the 14th, that's this Friday, for families who have experienced baby loss and staff involved in caring for them and supporting them. And colleagues are also invited to join if you have experienced baby loss yourselves. So the meeting on Friday will be at 5:30 p.m. outside the main entrance to Kingsmill Hospital, and that will then entail a walk around the reservoir, which will pause to watch the hospital towers light up, and then return for a short service of remembrance, and that'll be held at around 7 p.m. all weather permitting, of course, but the timings will remain. And the Wave of Light on Saturday, the 15th of October, marks the culmination of Baby Loss Awareness Week, and everyone is invited to light a candle at 7 p.m. to remember those babies who have died too soon. If you need support, and that's also available via our wellbeing, spiritual and pastoral care teams, who are there for you if you need to access them. Moving on to World Menopause Day, which is next Tuesday. So next Tuesday, colleagues are invited to come along to an event to mark World Menopause Day, and that's taking place between 9:30 and 12 p.m. There'll be a range of speakers who will cover topics such as HRT, weight gain, brain fog, anxiety, and how menopause affects men. And colleagues can attend both in person on the Newark and Kingsmill sites, where you can book via the course booking site, and for colleagues who can't attend in person the event, there's a link for you to join, so there's an ability to join online, and this can be found in the communications bulletin this week. Afterwards, from 1 p.m. until 4 p.m. there'll be a stand both at Newark and indeed at Kingsmill for colleagues to drop in and discuss issues further. So please join that if you're able to. Please also join Wellbeing Wednesday. So colleagues are invited to join a Wellbeing Wednesday session tomorrow, where Dr. Sarah Toft, our clinical psychologist, will talk about how to look after your mental health. Really important to look after yourself, and Sarah will help you do that. So the link to join Wellbeing Wednesday should be in everyone's diary. It goes out to everyone, as does the staff brief link as well, so you'll have that invite in your calendar already. Okay, so that concludes my general updates. If anyone's got any questions they want to ask of me following the general updates, or indeed any of our speakers today, please pop them in the chat. So without further ado, I'll move to Fatima and Rob, and you're going to talk to us about SES Week. So over to you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you for the introduction. So I'm Fatima Yusuf. I am the emergency medicine consultant, but I'm also the SAS tutor for the trust, a position that I'm very passionate about. It gives me the opportunity to liaison with my SAS colleagues and help them progress in their careers. It's actually quite a pleasure to let everybody know that within our trust, 40 plus colleagues have successfully completed their CSER and have been progressing to specialist register as a consultant. So that's a big achievement from our trust. Obviously, we've also, as a trust, introduced the specialist roles for all our SAS colleagues who want to take an alternative pathway, but at the same time want to progress in their careers. So we're very passionate about supporting all our colleagues who want to have a career progression, and for us as a team, to support them in any way that is able. We're actually very fortunate as well that we have SAS colleagues in so many specialties. So we have all, even when we will introduce Robert and the rest of our SAS team, we would know that we have colleagues coming from all specialities, and that gives a very good patient cohort for us, so they are able to provide senior cover to all our patients and up-to-date best patient management. At the same time, the SAS development team is very keen for SAS colleagues to take up non-clinical roles as well, as becoming appraisers, as becoming clinical and educational supervisors, being involved in research, audit, quality improvement projects, and also to be part of the clinical governance team. These are all areas that the SAS tutor, as myself, and the SAS development team are very keen in developing in the coming year. In the last year, we've had lots of workshop, mostly online due to the pandemic at hand, but those workshops were very successful in engaging SAS colleagues, and I believe that there was good feedback from those workshops which helped them develop even further. And they also had the opportunity to liaison and actually meet up with other consultant colleagues and other senior clinical fellows as well. So I think the whole process was quite good, and I think taking that positive feedback, next year we're going to be developing similar workshops, and we are going to be looking at further enhancing these workshops so that all most benefits can be taken from them. I personally feel that as a SAS doctor myself, who started as an SAS doctor and then progressed to become a consultant and completed my CSER through emergency medicine and now on the specialist register, it gives me the opportunity to help colleagues, sort of let them support them that this is something which is very much doable with the right support and the right help from senior colleagues, which is always available. We can further progress our career, and we can achieve further things and develop ourselves as we are able. So I think this is something, a role which makes me very proud as an SAS doctor myself, and then to progress as SAS tutor and now to become a consultant. I think these are all good things, and I'm hoping that further colleagues can develop further and they can utilize the expertise from the SAS development team, and then they can further enhance their career as well. I would like to introduce now Robert Flemming, who is our SAS advocate. He basically has Ritu Kotari, who shares the role with him, who is in dermatology. So you can see the specialty, how many specialities that we represent. And we have Fatima Malik, who is the LNC representative, who is not here, but obviously is an ENT specialist. So these are the SAS development team, which will meet up regularly to discuss how to help our SAS colleagues further in their career progression. So over to you, Robert, and happy to take any questions later on. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for inviting me to come and be part of the briefing today. So I've been invited to come and speak just for a few moments to talk a little bit about NHS employers and the BMA SAS Week. I'm hopefully going to introduce myself and talk a little bit about the advocate role before we move on to having any questions for anyone who has any questions about anything that either myself or Fatima have had to say. So as you may know, this week is SAS Week, which is a week-long celebration to promote and highlight the work done by SAS doctors in the UK. This is a joint initiative occurring between the BMA and NHS employers, which is seeking to raise awareness of what it means to be a SAS doctor in 2022. Some of the content that the BMA and NHS employers are putting out, which we've been sharing a little bit of, includes highlighting aspects of the 2021 SAS contract reform and some of the modern documents relating to the roles. So I am a specialty doctor anaesthetist. I've been a SAS doctor for just over a decade. I started my anaesthetic career in a formal training programme And like many people who find themselves in training programs, I found that it was difficult to balance my life as a trainee against my life outside of medicine. And I took a conscious decision to become a SAS doctor to improve my work-life balance. But I've never allowed being a SAS doctor to define the limits of my career. And over the last 10 years, I've done an awful lot of things that I'm very proud of, including getting involved quite significantly within my specialty within anaesthesia. So I was a member of the Royal College of Anaesthetists SAS committee for a little while, and then I was subsequently elected to be part of the board at an organisation called the Association of Anaesthetists, which is a representative body which predates the college by about 60 years. I've just spent 2 years as the chair of the SAS committee at that organisation. And I've spent an awful lot of my time over that time trying to make sure that SAS voices are heard in every forum within the organisation and elsewhere where decisions affecting SAS doctors were going to be made, because I think representation is very important. And to that end, I jumped at the opportunity to become one of the SAS advocates at SFH, because I think there is need for voices of SAS doctors at every level within every organisation. We are an important and sizable part of the workforce in any trust. And I think SFH is a very forward-thinking organisation. So before the advocates were appointed, we already had Fatima as a SAS tutor, and we already had someone on the SAS. We had a SAS representative to the local negotiating committee, as well as myself and Ritu Kathari being appointed as advocates. There has been a new representative appointed to the LNC, which means that, as Fatima alluded to, there is myself, Ritu, Fatima Yusuf, and Fatima Malik, who exist within SFH to represent the interests of the SAS doctors and make sure that make sure that being a SAS doctor in this organisation is all that it can be. That will include being proactive and trying to support the organisation in its approach to the SAS workforce, and it will also include perhaps being reactive and acting a little bit in a function analogous to the Freedom to Speak Up Guardians, but specifically for the SAS workforce. I look forward to meeting all of you. I haven't been here for very long, so I don't know that many people in the organisation yet, so I look forward to meeting a lot of you. As Fatima alluded to, if anyone has any questions for myself or Fatima about these roles or about anything SAS related, you have me for a little while, and I'm all ears.
Thanks, Rob and Fatima. We have a couple of questions already, and been posted by non-clinical colleagues who have the most basic of question. What does SAS stand for? And just tell us a little bit about what defines SAS doctors within the trust, and why it's important, why SAS Week is important. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Paul. Are you happy for me to answer this one, Fatima? Okay, fine. So I give quite a lot of talks along these lines. So if you are a doctor working in the NHS, you may be a trainee, you may be a consultant, you may be a GP, or you may belong to a column that exists that is none of those things, and that column consists of SAS doctors and locally employed doctors. At the moment in the NHS, there are approximately 100,000 doctors who are not trainees, GPs, or consultants. Of that number, you may be on a national contract for your work. So we are the SAS doctors. There have always been national contracts for this part of the workforce, and prior to 2008, the most common ones that people may have heard of are the staff grade and the associate specialist. So prior to 2008, there were a large number of staff grades and associate specialists, and that is from where we get the term SAS or SAS. It stands for staff and associate specialist. Both of those contracts closed to new entry in early 2009, and so every SAS doctor between 2009 and last year was a specialty doctor. So there were still a fairly large number of associate specialists from before 2009 in the workforce, but a lot of those have now retired, and so the majority of SAS doctors are now specialty doctors, which is what I am. As of last year, there has been the reintroduction of a new senior role. So Fatima alluded to this earlier on when she was speaking. As of last year, we now have a new senior role for specialty doctors to progress to again, which is called the specialist role. So the two contracts available for the two national contracts available for someone who is in my part of the workforce now are the specialty doctor contract and the specialist contract. And there is hope from NHS employers and the BMA that a large number of specialty doctors will progress to being specialists. We have restored the opportunity to progress to being a senior doctor without necessarily joining the specialist register and becoming a consultant. This opportunity existed for most of the history of the NHS up until the closure of the associate specialist role in 2008, early 2009. So this is, in the opinion of a lot of us that do representative work nationally, this has kind of righted a wrong. So the opportunity to progress is something that means a great deal to a lot of organisations and a lot of individuals. So this is something I think, speaking about this and trying to make this happen for doctors within the organisation is I think going to be an important part of what we all do going forward. Just to complete the answer to the question, there are also doctors who are not SAS doctors in this part of the workforce. So there are a large number of locally employed doctors elsewhere in the country, and we have a number of those doctors working at SFH as well. So these are your clinical fellows and your trust doctors. But again, the national contracts are the preferred contract, and certainly at SFH, I believe the culture is that if people are going to be with us long term, they are on the national SAS contracts of one variety or another.
Yeah, thanks, Rob. Thanks for that explanation. Clearly, that's an explanation that you're used to giving. So it was really clear. Thank you. And you're quite right about the approach here at Sherwood is to support doctors in career progression and this is a way that can do that to fit your own requirements and developments and fit, as you quite rightly said, for your own experience within your personal life and getting that achieving that work-life balance, but still achieving and progressing and being supported to do that through by the trust. So yeah, we're really supportive of our SAS doctors and the opportunities that presents. Can't see any further questions. So thank you for that, and for taking the time to give us that a further explanation, Rob. So thank you, Fatima. Thanks, Rob. And if there are any questions that come in, we'll come back to them. And in the meantime, we'll look to Kate. Kate Wright's going to talk to us about Allied Health Professional Day.
Thank you very much, and thank you for inviting me along to Team Brief. So on Friday the 14th of October it will be the 5th annual National AHP Day. So I just wanted to spend a minute or two explaining who AHPs are and then what our plans are for Friday. When we first looking at a strategy for AHPs, we were surprised how few people understood the terminology AHP. And AHP actually stands for Allied Health Professional. And depending on the definition, we are the third largest workforce in the NHS, and we are a collective group of professionals, not medics, not nurses, and then there is this group of other professionals that are regulated and registered with the Health and Care Professions Council with our own professional bodies. But the NHS definition of who allied health professionals are, or AHPs, includes 10 of the groups working at Sherwood Forest. So we have dietitians, occupational therapists, orthoptists, orthotists, operating department practitioners, paramedics, physiotherapists, podiatrists, radiographers, and speech and language therapists. So there's a huge workforce within Sherwood that are called AHPs. We try to be really inclusive at Sherwood, and because there are very vague definitions depending on which country and whereabouts in the country you work, we also like to include our biomedical scientist colleagues and psychologists and social workers as well. But it really does depend where you are. But that's the NHS England definition that I've given you as far as those groups are. So as AHPs, our role is really to diagnose, treat, prevent illness, promote and enable independence, and improve the quality and well-being of our patients' lives. So because of the diversity of the professions involved, almost every patient that comes through the doors at Sherwood will actually meet an AHP on their journey. So whether it's the first contact or at the end of sort of the discharge process and even out into community. And we are really integral to the clinical pathway along with our other medical and nursing colleagues. And we work in all variety of healthcare settings. And most colleagues at Sherwood will probably be working with an AHP, even if they don't know that that's what we're calling them. We are mainly part of a multidisciplinary team, and we're an essential and valuable part of that team, obviously. And On Thursday in the bulletin, there's a piece going in about AHPs, and there's a little bit more information in there with some links to a day in the life of. There's some video blogs, and there's a lot more information about the individual professions that I've talked about this morning. So moving on to AHP Day. AHP Day is on Friday. We are really trying to raise awareness of our AHP workforce, really sort of celebrate the roles and showcase what we do and actually how we can contribute to not only patient care but also to working with our colleagues. But in addition to that, it's also just a big thank you to all of our colleagues for all the work that they've been doing. Absolutely acknowledging everybody is working absolutely hard at the moment to support patient flow and the demands that are coming through our hospital. And AHPs are no exception. There are additional beds opening, and we are just having to stretch and do what we can to help support patients going through the organisation at the moment. So it's a big thank you out as well to all of our colleagues as well. In previous years, we've had the opportunity to utilise the KTC, have stands and showcase what we do, and the AHPs have been able to sort of demonstrate and be interactive with patients and colleagues about what we do as a workforce. But obviously with the restrictions, we didn't feel as though that was appropriate this year, and actually we are on Opal 4 you know, continuously at the moment, so it didn't feel like the right thing to pull the workforce out to be doing that. But it doesn't mean we don't want to celebrate them, and we're going to be doing things on social media. I'm going to be visiting the teams with some other colleagues, and really I would like others that are not part of the workforce to just make that effort to identify an AHP, say thank you to them, give them a virtual socially distanced hug, just appreciate what they do, but also be a bit curious about what their role is. I think the more we understand each other's roles, we can only enhance patient care and we can work better together as colleagues. So there are professions like physiotherapy, for example, that most people know what a physiotherapist does, but you know, do people know what an orthoptist does, or do you really understand the role of a dietitian on intensive care? So be curious, just have that conversation, just try and find out a little bit more. And I think you'll be surprised about the depth and the breadth of what we as AHPs have to offer. We also welcome anybody spending some time with our workforce. Come and shadow us, and please get in touch with me if there's anything else that you would like to do, not necessarily Friday, obviously. But, you know, moving forwards, please consider us. We want to make sure that we're involved in all the workforce planning, you know, all the decisions and all the learning events and things like that as well. So my role really is to put my hand up and say, don't forget about us as AHPs. But also we've got a huge amount that we can contribute. And really, I just want to say, you know, ask us, what can we do to help you? And we will more than happily come and support and help and do what we can. Thank you.
Thanks, Kate. So you gave an encouragement there for everyone, for anyone to come and ask how you can help, and you know that on Friday, AHP Day, such a great opportunity to celebrate the fabulous and as you described, incredibly diverse skill set and working commitment that our allied health professionals bring to healthcare and bring to the trust. So thank you for everything that you do. We've had a question about you specifically, Kate, actually. So and it's an anonymous question, and they do say, I hope you don't mind me asking, they're just interested, but are you an AHP by background, and if so, give me a little background into your career so far. That would be great. Thank you.
Yes, I am an AHP background. I'm a physiotherapist by background, so actually I'm one of the larger AHP workforces. So I worked, my background is working in, I was a junior and a senior physio rotating through the different wards, and then I specialised in musculoskeletal, so sort of outpatients, backs and knees, and then eventually in hand therapy. And then I was given the opportunity to, I've done various other roles in training and things as well, but then I was given the opportunity to be seconded into this post. I then job shared this post with Carl Miller, who's now also our Deputy to the Chief Nurse and Director of AHPs. So I'm now in this post full time, but yes, I am an AHP. Very proud of it as well.
Thanks, Kate. And I think one of your HP colleagues has sort of added some strength to the offer that you make, and says, we like talking about our jobs. We'll always happily chat away to our medical and nursing midwifery colleagues about our work. A big smiley face there, so thank you for that comment. So am I on mute? So Friday's the HP day. So how can we get involved? How can we contribute on Friday?
So really, it's as much as anything about acknowledging the AHPs that might be around you. Go and visit them, and asking about what they do. Just asking and understanding their roles a little bit more. Appreciating everybody's really busy. Most people. Now I've sort of explained the workforce that make up the AHP workforce will be able to acknowledge and understand who they are working alongside. That's not meant to be patronising at all, but we have come across lots of people that don't actually understand what an AHP definition is. So there are AHPs all over the organisation. I think there's about 350, and then with the support workforce we've got another 150. So they're definitely out and about out there. So please go and just say hi to one. Wish them a happy AHP day, and like I said, maybe a virtual hug and say thank you for the work that they do.
Thanks, Kate. Thank you for that. No further questions. So I'll move on to National Staff Survey. So it's National Staff Survey month, I think, or 6 weeks, or what period, Vicky?
8 weeks.
8 weeks. So over to Vicky, who'll give us a further update on the National Staff Survey, how to submit it and why it's really important that you have your say. Thanks, Vicky.
Thanks, Paul, and good afternoon, everybody. So yes, we are now week 2 into our National Staff Survey window, an 8-week window, and that carries us through to the end of November. Hopefully most colleagues have now seen their staff survey. We do a mixed model here at Sherwood, so it can be a little confusing to know whether you're getting a paper copy or an email copy. But if you've got any questions at all, if you haven't seen your survey yet, please do just either get in contact with me directly or with our OD inquiries inbox. I have a master sheet that has everybody's name on it, so I can track it down for you. And actually, first gold star of the week goes to Francesca, who is on, I want to say Ward 32, I think she is, who's already sent me her query list through of where some of her colleague surveys are. So I love that. I absolutely love it. So please do, if you're an area leader, department, ward, anything like that, and you're not quite sure what's happening, please do just get in touch with me. The other person I just wanted to shout out was also Lauren. So Lauren from surgery, one of our surgical matrons, I think, who has been writing little individual notes to her colleagues to just really encourage them to complete their surveys as well. So thank you, Lauren, for tweeting that. I absolutely loved seeing that. So yeah, National Staff Survey rolls around very quickly every year, doesn't it? But it is super, super important to us at Sherwood that people do feel able to share their voice and share their experiences. And I think I've said before, we really do take this very seriously, what you tell us. We look at all the information, we try and sort of triangulate it and look for our themes, but we also really do read those free text comments that you get the opportunity to write, and they tell us lots behind the scenes that might not be captured in the numbers. So if you've got something very specific you want to share, whether that's the good, because it's great to see some positive shout outs often in those as well, or some of the not so good, please do take that opportunity. As of yesterday, so just a week in, we'd had nearly 700 of our colleagues had already completed their survey, which I think is absolutely fantastic. We always do really well with our engagement at Sherwood, and this year is no different, really. So just really, really encourage you to have that say, and let you know that we do take it extremely seriously and want to make sure that Sherwood is a really good place for you to work, recognising how hard and challenging it is at the moment.
Thanks, Vicky. Really important that we hear your experiences of what it's like to work here in Sherwood, what you think we can improve on, what you like about it, what you don't. It's all that is really, really important for us to be able to understand and to make Sherwood a supportive environment that everyone wants to work in. Basically, I want people to want to work here at Sherwood and want to enjoy coming to work and contributing and giving great patient care. And this is one of the really significant points in the year where we understand how people can contribute and their views on how we can do that. Okay, so thank you.
Can I just mention, sorry, Paul, coming back in, can I just mention one thing? I just wanted to, because it's sort of hot off the press. So one of the things we heard in last year's staff survey was around colleagues feeling valued. And this is something that I think we really acknowledge, that COVID had a real impact on how we were able to celebrate and value and recognise our colleagues. So a couple of things that are sort of hot off the press. This morning I've just been down to ED to see our first acknowledgement of retirement certificate be presented to Bev down in ED, who a minimum of 38 years is what we'll say she's been down there. So that was one of the things that we've introduced based on some of the feedback from last year. So anybody who is managing somebody who's nearing retirement would like to celebrate that with us, please do get in touch and we can support you with one of our retirement certificates. The other thing that we've had, and this really is hot off the press, so please bear with me of getting these out and about over the organisation, but our George Crosses have literally just arrived on site as well. So this is the first one. I've just unboxed one quickly so that I could show you. But this is something we put out on a poll on our Facebook group. We saw some other organisations sort of really recognising that George Cross Award from last year and asked you whether it was something that you felt was important to you. And it was. So we've ordered those with support from our colleagues in the charity, and they have just arrived on site. So we'll send some more comms out around those. But for those of you who felt that was a really important token for you to recognise your service at Sherwood through COVID, these will be getting out and about over the sort of coming weeks and probably months in reality. But I just wanted to share those as two sort of very tangible things that we're trying to do, some of those small things that we know make a difference to people. And that's running alongside some much bigger things. We know that sort of actually just numbers of staff in the organisation was something that people fed back on last year. And actually, I know our vacancy rate has really reduced thanks to the hard work of all the teams and the teams in recruitment and resourcing as well. So lots of work underway. Some of it I know you won't see on a day-to-day basis, but they're things that have come directly from your feedback that you've given us. And we want to hear that year on year and keep working to make it a great place to work for you. Thank you.
Thanks, Vicky, and thanks for the sneak preview of the George Cross. That's great, and really, you know, I answered that poll, and my view was it's really important that to me that we recognise that the NHS was awarded the George Cross for its efforts during COVID and its ongoing efforts, and I think that's an incredibly great thing that now we've got them on site and we'll be distributing them, as you've said. Brilliant, thank you. Got a question for you. Do teams or department leaders get to read the comments that are included in the staff survey?
So short answer is no, not at that detail. It's really, really important that we make sure that the staff survey remains an anonymous tool. So we get the comments at a trust level, and then we often will break those down into sort of divisional or staff group levels. But what we don't do is send each department leader the comments off their ward or off their department, just because we find that it gets too identifiable, and it's one of the really important I suppose principles that we hold with the staff survey, that people should feel able to share their view anonymously. Obviously, having said that, if it's something that you want to share directly with your ward leader, or not just ward, but area leader, you know, please do that. And if it's something that you don't feel able to do that, there are obviously our different speak up routes throughout the organisation, either our speak up guardians, you know, our people partners in the HR team, myself and the OD team. So yeah, the short answer is no, we don't send those individual comments through, but we do look at them and we look for the themes. The other thing just to add on that is, even if you put something in there that's identifiable, our survey provider, so every NHS trust contracts their survey out, every survey provider will anonymise those first before they come back to us. So you could name your manager, for example, but that would be removed before it comes back to us. So again, just really important, that anonymous, that confidentiality aspect of it. It is super important to us as a trust, but also to our survey provider Picker. They do a lot of work their end as well.
Thanks, Vicky. And a similar question, or a question on similar lines. Will my details be passed to my line manager when I complete the staff survey?
No, so again, no, your individuals won't be. And we do get lots of questions around this, and I can absolutely understand why, because you get reminder emails and reminder paper copies. So I can understand the concern around that. Just to reassure, so again, as I said, pick a provider, we're contracted out to deliver our staff survey. Picker have to give each of us an individual unique identifier so that they can monitor responses coming back in, make sure they're aligned to the right team, the right department, the right trust to begin with. But they hold all of that information. I lead the staff survey for the organisation, and at no point do I see anybody's identifier number or whether any individual. What I do get back on a weekly basis is reports that tell me how many people within a team have responded so far, but only once that response number reaches 11 or more within a team, will that sort of tip over into an official report. If you're in a small team, please don't worry that means that your voice is lost. It's absolutely not. It will always be fed up into your sort of larger department. But actually, if you're in a team that's got, I don't know, 20, 30 people in it, that 11 is a really magic number, because without reaching that number, you won't get that team level report, and that's where it really is that really helpful information comes through about what it's like in your team and not just what it's like in the sort of department or trust overall. But no, a manager won't get a list saying these people have completed and these people haven't. They will just get updates on the numbers from within their team. And your email response, your email reminders come through without any input from your managers, and the paper reminders, what we tend to do, but we haven't confirmed it this year, but we tend to send those to your home addresses, again, just to really make sure that you feel that it's confidential whether you've responded or not. Obviously, we would love as many of you to respond as we can, because we know that the voice is stronger with more people responding. It's more representative of that experience. And also, what I'd really encourage is think about your response for your professional group as well. Kate's talked about AHP Day. What we can do from the survey is we can also cut the information by professional groups. So we can then do work actually not only as, you know, what's life like in X team or X ward, but actually what's life like as an AHP at Sherwood, and how can we use that information to drive improvements in our professional groups and also our sites. So again, we get the report cut by what it's like working at Kingsmoor versus Newark versus Mansfield. So think about your response and representing not just, I suppose, yourself in your area, but also your professional group and the estate that you work in as well.
Thanks, Vicky. Really important that every colleague feels confident that not only is it an honour, the staff survey will be treated with full anonymity, but it's a safe place to express your views and tell us what it's really like and what your experience is of working here and contributing here at Sherwood. So thanks for underlining that. Okay, no, I don't think we've got any further questions on staff survey. Just for now, I've got a question that and you probably need to take away and come back to colleagues on. So with that, the question is, with our uniform now not having the embroidery roll on it, is there a way we can be better identified? And Kate's putting a hand up, so I'm hoping, Kate, you can answer this. Maybe it's from one of your colleagues.
Possibly, thank you. Yeah, I'm quite passionate about this actually, because I have lots of conversations with staff and indeed patients about patients not understanding who's been to see them to have certain conversations. And actually the uniforms are very generic at the moment. So in maternity services, they've been piloting, and in fact they're using lanyards with the profession specific on the lanyard, and it's proven to be really successful. I've worked really hard to try and get AHP lanyards for AHP Day that are profession specific. And unfortunately the factory's on shutdown this week, so they're not going to be ready for Friday, so I'm a bit gutted. But yes, I've certainly from the AHP workforce point of view, we're going to have lanyards of different colours for the professions with the profession on it with an AHP badge, so it's still part of the AHP community, but it should be much more identifiable for patients to understand who it is that they're talking to, but actually also for the staff on the ward to easily identify at a distance what profession you've got working on the ward with you as well. So that I can answer that from an AHP only perspective, but that's that. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And we've got a further comment reminding me, I do know about the lanyard, the midwifery lanyard. So lanyards have just been brought in, the midwives, they're brilliant, so helpful. So that's it, being able to identify who people are speaking to. That's for patients and for colleagues as well. That's really important, thank you. Okay, so no further questions. So thank you for joining today. Thank you to Yusuf, Rob, to Kate and to Vicky. I've made a little list of all these things that sorry, Fatima. I've mispronounced your name, so apologies for that. So thank you to Fatima, Rob, Kate and Vicky for joining today. It's really important that, you know, I've taken away that it's SAS week this week. It's National Staff Survey week for the next 7 weeks by the sound of it. World Menopause Day next Tuesday, Allied Health Professionals Day on Friday, and it's Baby Loss Awareness Week also this week, and there's the Walk and the Remembrance service on Friday and the Wave of Light on Saturday. So lots to remember, but lots of important things to remember there. So thank you for joining us. Thanks for contributing. We've had a last comment for you, Kate. This is great. Thanks so much. Can't wait for mine. So that's on the recognition. So thank you for that. Thanks for joining. Hope you enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll see you again next Tuesday. Bye.
Thanks all.